just like with the proportional reasoning and proportional relationships, now we have a little bit of experience with linear relationships. We've modeled them using diagrams, like strip diagrams. We've modeled them using graphs. We've modeled them using tables. Now we need to, building on all of that, we need to model them using equations and variables. So I'm going to ask you to work on question 1 to see what you think Aaron understands and what he doesn't understand and where the issue might be. So I'd like you to actually pause this video and take a stab at this and then come back. We'll talk about number 2 together. So for number 2, we're given 2 scenarios and we're asked to show the quantities and how they change. And we're going to try to make sense of each one of these in a way that connects our pictures and connects our tables and our graphs. So for the first one, a mail order bead company sells beads for $10 per pound. Their shipping is $7 for any amount of beads. So let's see what we can find here. So if we have a table, right, we really have 2 variables here. The amount of beads, right, and that's in pounds, and the cost, the total cost in dollars. So if we're sending 1 pound of beads, right, what are we going to have? How much is that going to cost the customers? So it's going to be 1 pound at $10 per pound plus $7, right? What if we have 2 pounds? Right? You see it's going to be $2 at $10 a pound plus $7. If it's 3 pounds, it's going to be $3 at $10 a pound plus $7. And so on, so on, so on. So what if we had n pounds? Do you see that it would be n pounds times $10 each times 7? So what are our parameters here? Do you see these 2 parameters that don't change? Right? Those are the 10 and the 7. They mean something in the situation. And we have the variable. That's 1, 2, 3, or n, which is the number of pounds of beads. Do you remember what happened here in the previous situation? In the previous situation, we said, hey, what if we actually define the 0 pounds? What happens if we send 0 pounds of beads? Well, it's 0 times $10 plus 7. We're going to be sending an empty box, but the empty box is still going to cost us $7 to send. Is that a realistic situation? Well, mathematically it makes sense. It continues the pattern. But in real life, this is not something that we would be doing unless we really want to waste somebody's money. So if it's not something we're going to be doing, it's called degenerative case. So we degenerate the pattern to a place where it makes no sense. It's not interpretable. It's not interpretable in our scenario. It's not interpretable in our scenario. So, but what it does do is it helps us make sense of the pattern. Right? So the 2 variables then, if we want to define the 2 variables, we can say the cost in dollars is going to be our y, and the weight in pounds is going to be our x. So then what we can do is we can say y equals 10x plus 7. 10x plus 7. Now we have the equation that we can use to make sense of the problem. Now let's take a look at part B. If the company sells 1 pound of beads, it's going to earn $4 for each of those pounds, for that pound, but it will have had expenses of $500 whether it sells any beads or not. So it's going to be minus $500. If it sells 2 pounds of beads, it's going to earn $4 times 2 minus the $500 in expenses. And so on and so on and so on. So if it sells 3 pounds of beans, it's going to be $4 times 3 minus 500. And if it sells n pounds of beads, it will earn $4 times n pounds minus 500. Now, if we go back to the degenerative case and see what would happen if they didn't sell anything, well, that would be 4 times 0 minus 500. And let's take a look again at the variable and the parameters here. So the variable, I wrote it in a slightly different order, but the variable is the number of beads that we've got, just like it was the number of pounds of beads that we got, just like it was in the previous situation. And the parameters are this 4, because it's earning $4 per pound, and this minus 500, because no matter how many beads it sells, it's still going to have the expenses of $500. So if we're going to write that earnings in dollars are Y, and weight sold in pounds is X, then we would have the earnings would be 4 times X minus 500. 4 times X minus 500. And you can make sense of this function this formula, because it's $4 per pound of beads, and we have a standing $500 expense that we need to recoup. So I would also like you to work on questions 3 and 4 in this problem, in this activity, and let me know if you have any questions, and I can record more videos if you need to.